Hi, welcome to my page. I'm Wendy, the owner and creator of Empty Nest Creations. Thank you for joining me today as we upcycle the third sewing machine drawer in this series of sewing machine drawers. So we're starting out painting the entire box with a coat of Carriage House by Fusion. Fusion is an all-in-one paint. So it has a primer, paint, and top coat all in one. So this is a great paint to use. It is self-leveling, so it lays down really nice on this box. I'm just giving it a good coat all over, trying to go with the grain to make sure that I have a smooth finish. I'm going to put 2 coats of paint on here, drying in between, just so we can move on to the next steps. So if you remember, I got these boxes at a flea market in Canton, Texas, back in May, and I've been just reimagining them and upcycling them to use in home decor. This one's going to be very different from the others. We're going to cover it with some molds. So here you see I'm using the IOD Toadstool mold, and I'm using the Amazing Casting Resin here. And I'm going to be casting quite a few of these mushrooms. Many of them are too long to fit on the box properly. So you'll see where I pull these out when they're soft set, and then I use a razor blade knife to just cut them down to fit. Now they do cure hard after about 10 to 15 minutes, but when you take them out, when they just turn white, you can take them out and they're still kind of pliable. So I held it up to the box and just kind of folded it over where I wanted to cut it, and now I'm just laying it on the table and using a razor knife to cut it down. And I'll do this with all of the ones that are too long to fit on here, and just cutting it off straight so that it'll sit flat against the bottom of the box. And you'll see here that it fits nicely against that box now. And so I'll do that. There's several of them that are just a little bit too long, and so I'll do that as we go, cutting them down. Here you can see me laying it up there, and just cutting that bottom piece off so that it fits. Now we'll be painting these, and I'm using a combination of paints. So I'm going to use some silk paint in the color Oyster for some of the stems, and then I'm going to use a color by Fusion. It's called Eucalyptus for some of the other stems. I'm also going to mix, you'll see me mix some paint in a few minutes, and I'm going to mix some of that Oyster with a silk paint. It's called Cactus. And I'll paint some of those stems just a little bit of a different color. I sorted these mushrooms out in similar designs, so they're not all exactly the same, but like there's some that all have kind of a top with the little white dots on them. I put those together. So if they've got similar shapes, I'm going to paint them the same. I'm also going to be using Fusion paint in French eggshell, casement, and peony on these mushrooms, as well as a country chic paint. The red is Paint the Town, and it's a chalk paint. All the rest are the paint, primer, and top coat in one. The country chic paint is a chalk paint. But it's the only really red that I had. You can use any paint that you have on these. You can use acrylic paint as well. These are just what I had on hand. And so I'm just going to get these all painted up. And then once they're all painted and dry, we're going to start gluing them onto the box. Now I do this, these aren't completely cured yet, but they're soft cured. And so I'm going to glue them onto the box, and then I'm going to let it all sit overnight to allow the glue and the resin to continue to set up and cure. But I just kind of set up an assembly line and painted the stems, and then come back and I'm painting all of the caps on the mushrooms. And once we get them painted, then we're going to start gluing them on. This was just a really fun project to do. It was, like I said, different from the other ones. I'm not using any kind of paper or anything like that on this one. So a little bit different than what I did in the past. But these were a lot of fun to do, and I think it turns out really, really nice. Alright, so this is the peony color, and I'm painting the tops of some of these. And I know these colors seem a little odd, like pink, but I think that, you know, the mushrooms out in nature are all very, very different. And you know, when you're creating in the studio, you can be as creative as you want. And you'll see later we're going to do something to make them a little more earthy looking too. So please remember, if you enjoy this kind of content, to subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up on this video. It really does help my channel. And if you subscribe, click that bell so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. I do a lot of thrift hauls and upcycles on here. And would really like you to join me as I create. So here you see I'm gluing these on. I'm using the glue that has the activator spray. I love this glue. I get it on Amazon. I will list it in the comments below. So you can, if you want to buy it, you can get it off of Amazon. It's just a really good glue, and that activator really does work quickly, so you can move on, especially with a project like this where you're having to turn it around and turn it over. You want it to stick fast, and you see they're sticking as I go. I hadn't had any issues at all with them, you know, holding. So here I decide I need one more. So I set that one on there and get it sprayed. And now it's all set. So I let it sit overnight to just make sure it's all cured and stuck really well. And now I'm coming in with some, excuse me, antiquing wax. This is Waverly Antiquing Wax. And I'm just brushing it on and wiping it off with a paper towel. This is going to give those mushrooms that kind of dirty, earthy look. The Fusion paint, like I said, it has a top coat in it, so you don't really have to put a top coat or a wax or anything on it. But I'm doing this for the look. The only paint on here that would need a top coat is that Country Chic chalk paint. It does need a top coat, and so this will take care of that. But this is just really to give it that aged, earthy look on those mushrooms. This wax gets into all those little nooks and crannies on those molds, and just makes it look finished. Waxing the top there, and now it is complete. This was a quick and easy project. There are several steps, but I think it took maybe a total of an hour, mixing the molds, putting the molds together, painting all the way through. It didn't take very long at all to do this project. It's just a lot of steps. Again, thank you so much for spending some of your time with me and watching this video. Here you'll see a close-up of this box, and at the very end I'm going to show you all three of the boxes together. I'm really pleased with how these turned out. Um, I enjoyed flipping these and making them all a little bit different. I can envision these being used in a different room, each one in a different room throughout the house. As you see here, I've listed my website. I do have a new website, emptynestcreation.com, where I am going to be selling some of my thrift finds and some home decor pieces. So if you're interested, please check that out. Some of the smaller things that I pick up at the thrift store, I'll be selling on there, and you can go there and purchase some of those items if you're interested. Again, thank you so much. Remember to like, comment, and share, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.